Thanks for checking out the Disaster Dog podcast, where we talk all things canine, urban search, and rescue. The views and expressions are opinions of the hosts and guests and do not represent those of any government agency that we work for or contract work to. We're just a couple idiots with microphones.
Welcome back to another episode of the Disaster Dog Podcast, where we discuss everything canine-related urban search and rescue. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rami Al-Sharif, at the home studio with my teammate and co-host, Mikey Vitz.
It would be Studio Al-Sharif.
Instead of Chateau.
Chateau, yeah. Studio Al-Sharif.
That's a good one.
I like it. We should get a sign made.
We should get a cool sign.
We should also get nicer chairs.
I mean...
Or you should get nicer chairs.
We just bought this.
All right, fine. We'll keep it.
So we're in a spare bedroom that I have turned into my little man cave to play PlayStation when I need to get away from the dogs or Jen Pop downstairs. So
And Jen works out here.
Yeah, she works out here. It's her little Peloton studio.
And you play video games.
I play video games.
Now we podcast here.
Now we podcast here. So, well, we got our intros done.
We did.
Finally.
Hopefully people listened, and hopefully they continue to listen to what we have to say.
It would be hilarious if those were the least listened to episodes. Like, we don't care about these guys.
Probably.
Like, give us the good guests.
Yeah.
That's all we care about.
I am curious as to how that goes. It is really awesome though that every time we release something that people go back and listen to the previous episode.
Yeah, right. And I mean, it's not a ton, but like if I break it down by like a week, you'll go back and like episode 1 will have 25 listens, episode 2 will have 17, episode 3 will have, and that's just, and then, that new episode is in the hundreds. So, so it is cool that we're able to have more outreach, and we're getting in different countries and time zones and platforms. So it's exciting.
Prestige worldwide. Wide. There's a movie references again.
Yeah. Was it Step Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, Step Brothers.
Yeah.
All right. I got a topic, kind of our first non-scripted rapping, just spitballing idea.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, this is something new. First attempt at just open forum.
Basically recording just one of our phone calls.
Yes, basically at Studio Al-Sharif.
Yeah. So I want to talk about FSAs.
Okay.
And I have taken some FSAs, and you've taken some FSAs.
How many have you done?
I've done 3.
Passed?
I've passed 2.
Same.
2 different dogs.
Same. So 2 different dogs.
Yeah. Failed my first one with Zool, and then passed the other one at Crisis City.
And you've passed your first one with Magnus.
Yeah, with Magnus. So, but what I want to talk about is kind of everything all encompassing, right? I want to talk about the rules behind it. I want to talk about kind of how we train in case, to get to those levels. I want to talk about what it is for any new listeners who are, USAR curious or want to kind of get into the space. Maybe they're a wilderness, transferring over kind of thing, and USAR's piqued their curiosity. But I want to talk about first the spirit of the FSA in general, because I know everybody has a kind of different context behind it on how strict they are or how lax they are, or if they even do them.
Yeah.
Right. Because we've heard that's a thing too.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to.
And also, I've heard timelines. You have to have an FSA within so many months of your CE.
Yeah. So per the FEMA guidebook, you're supposed to have your FSA within 6 months of your CE date.
Right.
But you can also do the FSA within 6 months. So you can take 6 months to do your FSA. So let's say the first thing you do is obedience or dog aggression, human aggression. From the day you start that, you could not take a CE for a year. because you have 6 months to complete all the FSA objectives.
All the objectives?
Yeah.
That's wild.
And so it's, it's team dependent. I know I can't say for certain, but I know in the FEMA system, like maybe one training, they'll do aggression and obedience. And then 2 weeks later, they'll do agility. And then they'll do directionals. And then they'll do, agility, whatever it is, you know?
We've always, from our perspective, we've always taken it as like one lump sum.
Yeah.
Of one part of a test, or like one test and at one time.
Right.
I never even thought about breaking it up.
Yeah. So
I didn't know you can do that.
And like you can
do whatever you want.
Do different, you could do everything and then do barrels and search on indication and search on a different day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's pros and cons. Like I'm not about being like, there's only some repeatable thing, but it's also been said that it's task force depending on how you want to administer it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd say that breaking it up like that is almost like not so much a disservice, but having to accomplish everything in the same day at the same time it's pressure. You have pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
You're putting pressure on the dog to, perform.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having that is just going to set you up for success down the road. Again, not that FSA is going to do anything for deployments, but it's going to add pressure for you to perform under pressure. So I don't think breaking it up is doing any justice for the handler team.
I agree with you. I don't know if I created it or I stole it, but one of my coin phrases recently is pressure makes two things: diamonds and working dogs.
That's pretty good.
And I agree that if you can't handle the pressure of an FSA with your teammates, and your dog can't, well, then what's it going to do in theater when you need it to perform?
When there's actual pressure.
Exactly.
You're going to be working in front of maybe your team, maybe another task force, maybe bosses from another, search team managers or TFLs from another team, who knows where you'll be. So I think the pressure, I think it's
good for the handler and the dog.
1,000%.
Right.
I didn't even think of
breaking it down. Yeah.
Never thought of that.
It's a thing.
Yeah,
so,
apparently so.
But what I want to talk about is I think FSAs are, unless your team allows you to deploy in state, I think the FSA, it should really be kind of more of a screening.
Well, I think that's why they changed it to a foundational skills assessment from a type 1, type 2, or whatever they used to call it. Like when I got on.
Well, I think USAR called it type 1, type 2, and then FEMA is, FSA CE, right? And it's FSA is part of the CE as a whole.
Yeah, but I absolutely agree that FSA is definitely a screening tool.
Yeah.
Or should be treated as a screening tool to, kind of justify whether or not that dog is going to be able to do the work.
Right. And I think also depending on how strict you are, right? Like some evaluators, and usually it's done in-house, sometimes it's done outside of house. A lot of teams are like, no, we want to put the eyes on the dog because we want to see what it does. Well, I also say if this is your team, you should know what the dog's at. You should have seen it do agility 100 times already. You should have seen it do directionals. You should have seen its long down. You should have seen the focused training of a long down. Like, hey guys, I need to work on a long down. I'm good with search. I need to work on a long down. So I think from a screening perspective, we all know that any dog can fail on any day.
Yeah.
And also any dog can pass on any day. Bad dogs do pass FSAs and CEs.
Yeah.
It's just
it's fact.
Yeah. But
every dog can have a good day. Every dog can have a bad day. Every handler.
100%. But I think sometimes depending on the way you were raised in the USAR world or handling world, that being black and white isn't necessarily a good thing.
No, I I think the black and white aspect, that's kind of more of an old school mentality. And that's how it was when we were coming up, was more of like, you either, it's pass fail, there's no questions,
Right.
there's no nothing.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not the best approach for something that's supposed to be, in theory, like a foundational skill.
Yeah. And so, like, for instance, if your dog, it's supposed to be a 30-second indication station, whether that's boxes or tubes for HR and a bark barrel, like, and say your dog, your dog is supposed to be there for 30 seconds, right? Now, if your dog leaves, well, what's the context of it leaving, right?
And how far does it go?
Does it go and shop the other two tubes? Does it go behind the barrel and start sniffing the ground like it's crittering for animals or something? Or did it pull off, it chased fringe, it cleared its nose, and it came back, and but it traveled 15, it's 20-foot distance between barrels. Like it traveled 10 feet.
It's almost like working its threshold of odor.
Right.
Trying to find the least amount of odor and then bringing it back to the most, high volume of odor.
But some evaluators would call that a fail. And then,
look at the wind. What's the wind doing?
Right.
What's the weather? What's the temperature? What's the moisture in the air?
Yeah.
So we don't know what the odor's doing. We can't see it, or we would not need dogs.
Right. But should that be a fail?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's
and I mean, if the dog was never in, if you could physically see the dog start, never show any change of behavior when it got to the barrel with the person in it, no body language changes, nothing obvious, and then it went somewhere else, like let's say they barked at the barrel, you could see there was no body language change. They were just kind of like, not stress barking, but they're just barking to bark.
Yeah.
Right. And they go somewhere else. And you, in your nervousness, the dog barks twice. Obviously, we're not in odor. And then you call it as an indication. It leaves and comes back. I call it a fail.
Yeah.
If the dog is working odor, body language change, tails wagging, whatever your dog's doing for when they get an odor, and they chase a little bit of fringe and come back in.
Right.
I would run that as a pass, as long as, bark's there. It's cadence, the dog's in odor. It has a body language change, all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
subjective.
I just think there's got to be context around everything, and my biggest thing, what's the spirit of the dog?
Yeah.
Is this a training issue where this has been a repetitive problem and you need to go back to working on this single thing? Or is it, historically, does the dog do this? Or, was it just chasing fringe and clearing its nose, and, it wasn't shopping, it wasn't crittering, it was, I just think black and white is not doing justice for handlers and dogs, and especially if it's used as a screening tool, right? This is not the end all be all. Are these things important? Yeah, I believe they are. I think the agility, I think, the ladder, I think that's super, real world realistic, especially since we are collapse guys, we're, getting a dog in, that might be the only entry point that is safe for a dog to enter. Yeah. So I believe it all has practical application.
Yeah.
But I just think there needs to be some nuance around it. And what is the body language, the spirit, the activity, the intensity?
How's the dog perceiving the activity?
Yeah. What is the dog showing you?
Yeah.
I just, I guess I just don't like the black and white, man.
No, I see that. And going back to just what the FSA is, I mean, it's a pretty significant, if you don't break it apart, if you break it apart, it's easy. But if you do all of the elements of just take the obedience, for instance, like if you do all of the elements at once, like it's a lot of work.
It is.
And then you add all the other stuff. It's far harder than any other working dog testing, I would say.
Yeah.
Like for police dogs or any sort of other working dog, it's like the most I would say the largest and most kind of diverse in skill.
Oh yeah, I agree. Because I mean, we have or you have more than I, but like NAPWADA, testing experience.
Yeah.
And I mean that obedience I thought was a joke compared to and I'm not downplaying the obedience, but just because of the intensity of the FEMA standard, right? I thought the NAPWADA was just like
it's simple.
It's simple.
I mean, I guess like the one thing about the NAPWADA cert is you have to put them in a sit or down. I can't remember specifics, but you got to do it at distance with hand signals.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was good. That's like a real world application. But it's very simple. It's nothing. It ain't rocket science.
No.
It's nothing like you can easily complete that and be successful at that.
Yep.
Whereas like there's 5 elements to the FSA, and then obedience obviously has its 5 or 6
sub
elements. I'm just pulling up the actual cert. Element descriptions. If you guys want to take a look, disasterdog.org has all of the certs or all of the.
Is Disaster Dog still working, or did it forward to response systems?
It takes me right to. It's an old.
Oh wow.
It's an old version. It's a 2015 version.
Oh yeah,
so
okay.
It's not updated. So I should probably find a newer one, huh?
Yeah. That's
response system.
Yeah.
There it is.
That website never works for me. I don't know why. Or like the when I'm trying to get the forms, especially on my phone. But
use a computer.
Well, I don't. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. But yeah, so like back to the elements of obedience. There's a lot just in the elements of obedience.
Yeah.
I think they're all applicable, but I think, like you were saying, some of it's black and white, but not all of it.
Like I think aggression is black and white. Black, like you know what I mean? Hands down. I think
the dog is either aggressive towards random people or not.
Yeah, and other dogs, right?
Or other dogs, right?
And so I remember, I took an FSA, and there was an outside handler, and I was posted up for the figure 8, and I had Zool, and anyone that's met him knows there's not an ounce of dog aggression or human aggression in him.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's a dog; anything can happen on any day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Break his leg and start playing with it. He might nip at you.
Don't do that.
But that being said, I was posted up, and he literally turned his head while a dog was doing the figure 8, and the other dog, it was a Dutchie or a Malacrosse or something, but Brindle, and it was a snap and lunge at Zool. And the handler tried to say, well, that lab turned its head towards my dog. It's like, well, it's not an obedience test.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if I have, Schutzend, heel, obedience, focus. It's just got to stand here and not bark or lunge at your dog.
Right.
And then I think they continued. And then during the long down, the dog got up. So
that's black and white too.
That's black and white. Yeah.
They either get up or they don't.
Yeah. And the other another handler went to go. I was obviously 5 minutes out of sight.
Mm-hmm.
A handler went to go collect it so that it didn't interfere with all the other dogs.
Of them, yeah.
And it snapped at the person trying to collect it. So automatic fail.
Yeah.
If you can't be handled, we should all be able to handle each other's dogs.
Should.
And, because let's say, you get, I don't know, athlete's foot on deployment.
You fall through a part of the structure.
Fall through part of the structure. Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah. Side note, Rami fell through a couple pallets.
Yeah, I was wedged.
Very wedged.
Yeah.
And then people started screaming, and I
didn't move.
I didn't move. I was like, nah, he's fine.
Is he conscious? Yep,
yeah.
He's fine.
He doesn't sound like he's screaming bad. It doesn't sound like he's really...
They had to get the crowbar and, pop the pallet. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was funny. And then a couple weeks later, he's still bruised. Huge bruise. My whole thigh. Both.
Oh, yeah. Man, we make good memories in dog training.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the aggression, 100% black and white.
Mm-hmm.
I think the long down.
Black and white.
I think the agility, you have more than enough time to do it.
Yeah.
And it's black and white. I think more of it pertains to like the search, or like, also, what are you doing? Going back to the long down, what are you doing it on? Are you doing it on like, crushed rock? Are you doing it on a flat surface?
Is it concrete? Is it summer?
Concrete?
Is it winter?
Is it summer? That dog's going to be shifting, wiggling. And if you're going to like gig them on 2 inches outside their body length because you have them on hot asphalt, you know what I mean? Like we need to.
Black and white, yes, the dog gets up and walks away. Black and white, no. If the dog shifts, moves, I would even say like a foot or two.
You get a body length.
Yeah.
So, but like,
they're going to move.
If they're keep wiggling and shifting hips because you have them on crushed limestone or, whatever it is, like, well, are we setting these dogs up for success? And then there's the argument, well, they should be able to down on anything, forever. Like, seriously.
I don't know, man. If I'm out on deployment somewhere, I'm going to find the most comfortable possible spot to put my dog in a down.
I'm gonna put myself in the most comfortable spot to put myself in a down. Like Texas. Like, I mean, there wasn't a lot of shade in some parts,
but you find it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I'm comfortable on a work rest cycle. So why wouldn't I want the same for my dog?
Yeah. And there's a lot of like, yes, black and white, yes, but then also very specific variances, I think. And again, back to like certain teams take it as the gospel. Certain teams kind of go a different direction with it. I know when coming up with us, we failed our first FSA. Out of the 4 of us, John was the only one that passed it. That was an example of it is black and white. There's no question. It has to be perfect. And the evaluators gave us no room for any sort of, not error, but any sort of variance.
Context.
No context. Like Irie failed on a bark indication. And it was exactly the same thing you were talking about. She was a dog that loved fringe. In tracking, she'd zigzag. She'd be on the track, but depending on wind and temperature and all that stuff, she would go back and forth on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
She'd go back and forth on the street. She'd go back and forth on the field. But she would absolutely crush tracks. But she was a fringe dog.
Yep. So
on the bark barrel alert, she barked for probably like 15, 20 seconds. She came off the barrel. Again, like she did tracking. She fringed out a couple feet in one direction towards the back of the barrel, came back to the front, continued barking. They failed me.
You know what's at the back of the barrel?
People and odor.
People's feet.
And odor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a dream world, for people that don't think that any live find or even HR in a collapsed building are going to be in this horizontal 6-foot position. Right. And not crammed, and their feet can't be over their heads, or they could be indicating on their feet because that's the closest thing to the surface. And it's just it's to me it's ridiculous, and it's just, what are you trying to prove at this point? And I know that evaluator, and I think it's pimpy. Lack of better words, it's just pimpy
for sure.
Especially the dog came off to go to the back. Where does it say they have to be in the mouse hole?
Right.
I've never read that in the standards, the policy, the guidelines.
Yeah. It's subjective based on the personal thoughts of the evaluator. And that's why I think all of us had such a bad taste in our mouth from our evaluation, the first one. And I mean, I think I can't remember how many dogs they were testing. I don't know, 12, 14. I think 3 of them passed, or 4 of them passed.
Right.
That doesn't seem.
Well, I think there's paperwork if a certain amount of dogs. I think if you hit a 50% fail rate or something, somebody has to fill out paperwork. Yeah. Depending on, I forget what it is. I'll have to reference it. But why did this many dogs fail?
But then, so we went from the first attempt was in Chicago, and then a couple months later, 6 months later, we went to New York, and we did our FSA with Scott, and his mentality and his thought process was like, does the dog do it? Does it understand the concept? You're good.
Yeah.
You know, do they have the skills to complete the tasks?
Right.
You're good.
And what's the spirit of the dog?
Exactly.
You know?
So like that changed our mindset and on our FSAs that we do in house.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've gotten a lot more lax on what it is and how the dog performs on the FSA day. I think it's more to challenge the handler than it is dog, because
Sure.
we've seen the dog do all of the skills in training for months before.
Right.
It's to put pressure on the handler. That's all it is.
Yeah.
At least that's what it seems like for us. You know, can they perform the skills when the pressure's on?
And I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I we all want good dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you get there's some dogs out there that you know are plug and play and they're just going to do it. But the handler also has to, be able, it's a team. It's not just the dog.
It is.
It's both the handler and the dog.
Yeah.
Being able to perform together.
Mm-hmm.
So putting that pressure on the handler, even though the dog might be fine.
Yeah.
Can also screw up the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's a buddy system.
Mm-hmm. One thing, just again, sitting here reviewing kind of the elements, like the emergency stop. I think the emergency stop is kind of a joke.
Yeah.
You're stopping your dog when they're coming back towards you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about previously, like if a dog is going after its highest level of reinforcement, right? Like chasing prey, whatever it is, like that's when you need to stop.
Right.
Right. You don't need it when you're recalling the dog back.
And also, like, you've done it so many times that the dog is conditioned that, okay, when they put me in this down or this sit, and then they walk that way, and then they call me, well, I know I'm going to get stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't even like book it back to you. They just like kind of saunter because they're like, well, I know I'm going to have to stop anyways. Like they're cheating, right?
Yeah.
They know what's going on.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah. If you ain't cheating, you're trying.
Yeah.
So like, I think the send out, right? Like, was it Schutzen or IGP? Like the send out and the down, like that's more impressive to me.
That's way more impressive. I think that's way more applicable to what we do.
Right.
Like you need your dog to, if I remember, when I started training with Jeff, Atkinson, it was like, doing a whole bunch of obedience and downs and recalls and all the other stuff. I remember one day I came home and I let the dog out of the truck and there was like 2 or 3 bunnies in this. I have a big field across the street from my house and she took off like light speed and I yell, Irie, here. And she literally, without hesitation, turns around, comes back to me. And I was like, oh, wow.
It's working.
Yeah. Oh my God. It actually worked.
Yeah.
But that's what you need is like, if you're on a pile or you're searching somewhere and the dog is, not in odor, they're not picking up anything, but then they pick up the rabbit or the prey object that takes off from wherever you're searching, like that's going to be a higher level of reinforcer than searching the pile or searching whatever they're searching, like instantly.
Yeah.
It's like you need a recall there.
Yeah.
You don't, or you're down or whatever. You don't need it when they're coming back to you.
No.
It's like that should be something that somebody should look at.
People would lose their minds if they went to that.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're going to set up this rabbit. We're going to send it out.
Yeah.
PETA would be knocking on the federal government's door.
Oh, man.
But no,
That's more applicable.
It really is, especially with all the wildlife that you encounter on deployment.
Oh, yeah. Tons.
And then like agility is obviously really straightforward. I get the tunnel. I get the high plank. I get the ladder.
Mm-hmm. I guess generalizing difficult things.
Exactly. Uncomfortable footing
uncomfortable
for the dog.
Stuff, yeah.
Directionals and that's I think sometimes if your dog doesn't like directionals, like I don't know how people fail directionals. I think it's one of the easiest things that you can train on your own.
Yeah.
And either people aren't making it fun enough for the dog with the reinforcer, or they're kind of setting the expectations way too high. You know, it's like, put these things 3 feet apart with an 8-week-old puppy.
Yeah.
You know, and just
move them left, right, back, forward.
Free shape them, you know? Yeah, you're going to get paid, dude.
Yeah.
You know, just keep moving them out. Yep. And what I do think is crazy is I've heard of teams that have gone from either third base or first base to back instead of center to back. And I'm like, well, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And once I heard about it, I was like, okay, like, let me think about this. Like, I could do a back, right? And then I would...
Or whatever you call it.
Yeah, I could say they're on first or third. I could do a back so that they're heading in that direction. And then I would have to stop my dog, right? And then give them like an over or a right or a left or whatever, you know, so that they're kind of way past pitchers and then able to still get on that base.
Yeah.
But once I heard that, I was like, you kidding me? Like, I was like, that's kind of mean.
Yeah.
Like, I just, you know.
But, and I think a lot of handlers don't actually take into consideration what it is that they're developing the skill for.
Yeah.
Right? They're looking at it like, this is the objective I have to do.
Objective I have to do. Yeah.
I have to do. But they're not realizing that if they teach the foundation skills outside of these bases, right? Moving the dog with your body, with your body language, or words, or a whistle, or e-collar stim, whatever you use.
Yeah.
If you're not teaching the foundation of what it is you want them to do, it's not gonna translate into actual skills
right
in the field.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I think probably at least every week I work on directional skills with my dog. 90% of the time I don't have a directional box.
Right.
Like I just want him to, you know, like I'll put a ball out and won't let him see it and I'll have him search and I'll just try to get him, whether it's body language or e-collar stim, to go from me to the direction that the ball was at.
Right.
And to search over there.
Yeah. Well, also like, and I think as our dogs have been certified for a couple of years, not ours, but the teams, right? We don't have any new candidates, really just one. We've been getting more into real world training and applied directionals, right? Like, so you know, setting up like a Cato board or like a directional board and then going into a search and sending them out and then being obedient to the command, but then sending them on a search and being obedient to odor and, you know, going right into the applied directionals and things that you like learn in CSST. Like that stuff's real, like especially, you know, wide area. Yeah. You know, like Texas, Helene, Milton, like, you know, and you could see the handlers that work on directionals and the handlers that don't.
Yeah. 1,000%.
But it is practical if you want it to be.
Yeah. I think that's the more important part of it. The more important aspect is teaching the dog to understand your body language, or again, e-collar stim or whatever it is, to move them in the direction you want them to go. Right. And just to be able to generalize that in any spot. Yeah. In an open field, on a rubble pile, any of that stuff. And like, I feel like for the FSA, we put so much effort into the specifics of the test. And I mean, I think that's good, but we need to think about like long term, how is the foundation we're laying for these skills going to translate into their working life?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, like so I always like take the CE specifically back to like the fire service, right? Because that's what I can relate to. To me, the CE is graduating from the fire academy. It is the basic level of comprehension to do the job at an entry level.
At a very basic level.
At a very basic level.
Very. Even more basic now.
Right. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And then the real world, like the real work starts, you know, and that's whether you're traveling more, whether you're working more diffuse, more deep, more, you know, complicated technical rubble, you know. But if you're going to get a CE and then not do anything that challenges you or your dog, then are you really working towards
Operational readiness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in life, everybody, you know, they focus on things that they're good at or they enjoy.
Yeah.
And people are not comfortable, or people don't like to be uncomfortable. And so they don't, oh, my dog's not good at this. And people are scared about being embarrassed. And, you know, it's like, well, then they're never going to get better.
Yeah. 1,000%.
And so I think as much as having a mentor to show you the way is also their job should be to kind of call you out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know we're really good at that.
We are. Well, we put a big emphasis on, we talk about it a lot of times, like, when your dog gets out, I can see whether you did the work or not.
Dogs don't lie.
Right. They don't like, you can say, oh, I worked on it, a million times and I did so many reps of this. It's like, no, you didn't.
Right.
Your dog still has no idea what they want or what you want from them.
Right.
So like the dogs don't lie when you take them out.
Right.
Do the training
or
do the objective or the event.
Or just a little caveat is you're just doing it in your backyard.
Yes.
You know,
you're not working to generalize it.
And they're not generalizing it everywhere you go.
Different locations.
You know, and I think like that one thing is when you guys were getting ready for your first FSA 6 years ago, you had a trailer loaded up with agility and directionals.
Dude, we took that thing everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
every park, every
soccer field, parks. Like we went to like the middle of a legit, it was either a lacrosse or a soccer tournament with like thousands of people, like just to generalize it.
Yeah.
To, hey, there's going to be a lot of people around here. You can generalize these skills in this new location.
I still need you to compete or perform.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Now, not everybody has that, the opportunity to do that. They don't have a trailer or don't, but
we also had no kids. We were younger.
No kids, younger, stuff like that. Right. Yeah. But like, I mean, how bad do you want it?
1,000%. Right. And all these FSA skills, it's the same question. How bad do you want it? Because most of these skills, you don't need the team to train on.
No.
You need the team to help you refine.
Sure.
And to get pointers, like you just said, and to be your mentor, your big brother, big sister that's telling you like, hey, like, this is not looking good.
Right.
This is how to fix it. This is what you're doing wrong, kind of thing. But like, I think almost everything on here, you can work, whether it's at the firehouse or at your home. Like, you can do all these things.
Yeah. Well, I remember like another thing is like, for a lot of the elements, food, man, I love working with food. Even though I have a crazy food lab, or, he likes the toy, but we can get the reps out of it.
Dude, you rep with food and you refine with the toy.
100%. But like, another thing is like, if you have a super toy driven Mal or Shepherd or something like that, you don't need that level of arousal.
No.
So use the food because one, they got to eat.
Yes.
Use it as a tool. Two, I don't need them over the top
in
smashing. I don't need
every
them
skill.
I just need you to do this thing with a little bit of exuberance. Do it well. Do it fast and efficiently. But I need your brain.
Yeah, I need clarity.
I need clarity
in the task.
So I just if you want to finish the element with a toy
on the way back to the car,
or back to the car, something like that, that's cool. But I mean, we've told him put the toy away.
Yeah,
you're not
get rid of that.
Get rid of that thing right now because your dog is operating at a level because of that reinforcer that you don't need.
Right, they get tunnel vision, they get auditory exclusion, they stop listening. You start yelling. Yeah. You elevate their level of arousal because you're getting mad.
Yep.
And you're just overwhelming the whole situation.
100%. And I like clean. Well, in general, like I think we're the same way. As I really like polishing a lot of the stuff with an e-collar and using that negative reinforcement, but it's always overlaid a behavior they already know. Like I'm not gonna like, why isn't this dog going back and just start like hitting the button? But
they got to know it.
100%. But using that low stim, pairing it with food, and then just being able to see that clarity and
you're turning up the gas.
Yeah.
You're turning up the volume
Mhm.
later.
Yep.
Right. You're repping with food. And that's what we always say is the food is, you're going to get the most reps. The dog needs to eat. You're going to use their, their nature. They need to eat. That's what they're going to do. Anything. What does the dog do anything for, right? To make their situation better.
Make the
If they're
situation
hungry,
better.
you're going to rep out a whole bunch of stuff.
Most narcissistic animal on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are.
They are. Yeah. And I think, like I said, I never really thought about splitting this up. It's still like boggling my mind that there's teams that split up all these elements into like multi-week things.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's wild.
I'm not here to say one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I just think my personal opinion is putting the pressure on the handler and the dog because it's a lot.
It is. It's a ton.
Now, if you have a repeat and you want to do it the next day, like
how many times do you think a dog can?
So, like
FSA? What's the limit?
How many times should a dog FSA?
Mm-hmm.
I think there needs to be context behind that. What
you can't put it black and white.
You can't put it black and white, but I would think if you're failing the same element repeatedly, is it a dog problem? Is it a handler problem?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a training problem? Assuming training is set up appropriately,
right?
And have you exhausted all resources?
Mm-hmm.
You know how much money I spent to get a long down, right? Like I spent a lot of money working more correct levels with Zool for the long down on the e-collar. And if you're not doing all those things, well, I think that should play into how many times you're allowed to attempt as well.
Mm-hmm.
Have you sought out professional help?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it a super windy day and, or was something set up wrong on the searcher? You know what I mean? Like there has to be context behind it. But
if somebody's consistently failing the same element without obvious change, and
I would say 3.
I was thinking 3.
Yeah, I think that would be fair because now
you could set up a test and the weather's shit.
Yeah,
and you're like, well, you can try it, but it may or may not work.
Right. I just think that if it's the same thing, and now it's a pattern, well then the dog's not going to do it.
What do you think about age?
You know what, man? I think that's, it depends. So context once again, right? Right. So if you pull a shelter dog, right?
Like, you don't know how old they are.
You might not know how old they are. I think barring any significant, you get hurt, you get laid off of work, your dog gets hurt, I don't think that, if you get that dog at 8 weeks, I don't think you should have an FSA at the latest 2.5 years. The latest. That's my personal opinion.
8 weeks, 2.5 years.
Yeah. Dogs have proven to be able to FSA at 12 months, and, some...
Again, how much do you want it?
Yes. I mean, but, there's also the maturity of the dog and, how fast they mature and then their body, how, they're working the pile and stuff like that. But I just think that it's not hard. Get the right dog, put in the work, CE by 2. That's my, and it's easy to say.
Basic blueprint.
Yeah. I mean, that's easy for me to say standing behind a microphone, but I've also done it.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Sure.
So, now if you can't get a test or you can't get an FSA or evaluators aren't in your area or not on your team and,
scheduling hurricane season.
Yeah, exactly.
Tests.
Also there's a lot of teams, especially in the USAR system, that are spinning up canine, right? They're able to go out as they were going out as a USAR water or whatever, but they're want to get into that type 3 world. And so they're I don't think it's fair that you're going to take brand new handlers who have never had a dog, who have no mentors, who've never had dogs in the state, and think that they're going to be able to have the same success and output that we're able to, consistently recreate.
Right.
So once again, context.
Context.
Yeah.
It's all about context.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it to me, it does matter, but if you just grab a dog that might not be, not to talk ill about off-breeds, but if you grab an off-breed because you want to do this and like the dog was 1 year old from the shelter and you want to get into SAR, USAR, whatever like that, like, you need to have people, well, one, like you shouldn't get that dog. Yeah. Two, there's just so many things that go into it. But if you're consistently failing or, you don't have a working dog and you're just trying to make it happen, like there's a lot of emotion into that as well.
Yeah.
Because you're going to wash this dog and, but you weren't set up for success from the get-go.
Right.
So I think, I'm a never say never, never say always kind of guy. Mm-hmm. But there's just a lot that needs to be looked at. And if you're continually failing the same element, then it's just the dog doesn't love it. The reinforcer's not high enough for the dog.
The job isn't made for every dog.
It's not.
And if the dog doesn't love what they're doing, like if they have the drives and stuff, it's easy to repurpose it for something else.
Yeah. But that goes into that emotional, and that's tough.
An attachment. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, like, I'm not, oh gosh, we'll probably get some flack for this. I'm not a big proponent of people grabbing shelter dogs for USAR. And the reason I say that is because
we're getting way off topic.
No, I know. But like, I think that like, you don't know the history. You don't know how it was raised. You don't know any triggers behind it. Right. Mm-hmm. SDF does a phenomenal job doing that, but SDF has the network, the resources, the money, and they're doing it they're a vendor for someone else. Right. Yeah. They're not a vendor, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if you, Mike, go to the shelter, grab a dog, well, now you just have, it doesn't work out. Now you have this dog.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so you could get another dog, but
is your home life set up?
What's your home life set up for, and, it's tough. Right. So that's why
we're going to have
a whole episode on,
shelter poles
versus, stuff. I mean, it's getting a little off topic, but it's just a tough thing to come and deal with, having to wash this dog or the shelter dog or any dog. You can buy it, not every dog that's bred well is supposed to do this either. Right.
1,000%.
So yeah,
I think there's, at least for us, I think we do a very good job of explaining to potential candidates that the dog is a tool. Mm-hmm. Just like, and again, we put it into perspective on our team, always going back to the fire service because we're all on fire departments. This is another tool in the heavy rescue.
Yep.
To perform a specific task. And if that tool is not performing the specific task that you paid the money and put all the effort into training for, you're going to get a better tool to do the job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like from bar racks and rope nerds, from bar racks to IDs to clutches to other descender, ascender equipment. Like you're going to use the stuff that works and the stuff that doesn't work or isn't applicable for the specific job or task you're going to get rid of. And I think as a team, when we bring our people up, we do a good job of explaining like the dog should come out for work. If you're going to raise a dog for work, our dogs come out to work or to accomplish a task or to work on something, and then they go back in the crate.
Yep.
And we build relationships with our dogs when they earn it. And, depending on how your home is set up or how your home life is, kids, no kids, whatever, like I think most of us on the team, if tomorrow any of our dogs were like, not doing the job, we would say, okay, I'll get another dog and we'll wash the dog we have. Even when we put 6 or 8 months of work into it. Yeah. I think any of us would have done it. I mean, we've washed. I
did it.
You did, right? You did it. Todd's done it. We washed Todd's dogs. We washed your dogs. We had people come out. Many people come out with their own personal dogs that we washed. We just washed another dog recently. But I think we treat them as tools. And we raise them as tools for a specific task. Obviously, there's a connection between us and the dog, but nonetheless, we still look at it. This is a tool in the toolbox for a specific task for a disaster.
Right.
Right.
And if I'm buying tools from home, like using the dog as a tool, like I'm buying Milwaukee or DeWalt. I'm not going.
You're not a Ryobi
guy? I'm not going. And even Ryobi would still get the job done in the dog world. But I'm not going to Harbor Freight to get like a 17.
You're going to piss some people off with the Harbor Freight comment. There are some guys at work that swear by Harbor Freight.
Yeah, but I'm not buying their $17 drill.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, so.
But if you look at the Snap-on and the Harbor Freight tools in a side-by-side comparison. Anyways.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's just like, I want the tool that has consistently performed. And maybe it just needs a new battery recharge.
Yeah.
You know, or something like that. But you want the dogs to perform. And it always comes down to, do I want this dog looking for my family?
Yeah.
That is 100%.
That's the benchmark.
It should be.
Of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Referring back to the CE and taking a look at this book. One of my biggest pet peeves, I think, on what the FSA is and some of the ground rules is the no training aids. Balls, food, toys, etc. should be allowed except where allowed, right? Or what does it say?
Only in the search and the
shall be allowed except where specified.
Yeah.
A toy or food reward is allowed on the rubble and at the indication station.
Right.
No collars or vests of any type are allowed on canine while searching. Collars may be used when moving a canine to and from the search area, but must be removed before searching begins. So like training aids, there's not a single event ever that you go deploy and work your dog that you don't have something to reward the dog with, something to control the dog with, something to, water the dog with. Like, I just don't think that those ground rules are not fair, but I just don't like them. I think they're kind of.
And I think that comes back to the individual team.
Yeah.
On how they do it. Now, when I've taken FSAs before, let's say agility was in a certain area, I couldn't have a tug hanging out of my back pocket. But before I entered the agility area, I could leave a tug back there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get the theory that if your dog does it 1,000 times being rewarded, they're going to do it 1,001 times without being rewarded.
Yeah.
I still think it's kind of dumb.
I think it's super dumb.
I think. Now, I'm not saying you should lure your dog across the high plank with food.
No. Not right. At all.
But I'm probably going to piss off some OG handlers, but
sorry.
I think I don't think it matters.
Yeah. And so when myself, I talked about in my intro episode, the 4 of us that kind of started at the same time, we were going to a trainer, Jeff, and we brought him the rule book and all this stuff. And we're looking at it. We're like, how are we going to accomplish this stuff without any ball, food, toys, anything? And he's like, oh, it's easy, dude. This is what all the high level competitors do. This is, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And we're like, what do you mean? He's like, line your pockets with food, rub food all over your hands. Like, this is like easy, simple, like put something, like an object, submerge it in water and dog food, and then keep it in your hand, like a piece of leather or fabric, and keep it in your hand. And you can just keep the dogs,
keep the heel,
keep the dog's nose in your palm. He's like, all the high level, IGP shifts and like all these competitors, like they're all cheating. Everybody's cheating. Like, you're using these skills. And so like when we were preparing for it, like I lined my pockets with dog food.
Mhm.
So like, and just crumbs, like not food,
Right.
just like,
But that picture that like, 1,000 times that odor of food was on that pocket, and I'm going to keep this,
Right.
clean heel.
and like, or like where my food, like, okay, I can't have any food, but I'm going to wear my food pouch.
Yeah.
There's no food in it. There's nothing in it. Picture's the same, or just making the picture the same always, like taking food out of your hoodie pocket.
Right.
So like you put your food in, half the time the actual food reward is not what the dog's into, like they're noticing your subtle movements towards where the food is or towards where the reward is.
But they've been paid from that location 1,000 times.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're just doing those same
Routines.
hand motions, routines, like that's how you get through these things.
Sure.
I don't like the rules, but there's ways to beat them.
Yeah.
Right.
Game the test.
Game the test.
Yeah.
Right? Again, I love the saying, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And I mean,
Everyone's going to think we're cheaters.
we're cheaters, but I mean, it's true. Like, I'm never going to go anywhere in any situation and not have a way to reward my dog or restrict him from doing something.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Right. Like, I'm smart enough to know the limitations of myself as a trainer.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know.
And I think the long down, I think, is the dumbest thing. And here's why. Okay, so I might be at the boo and I have to walk in here or decon my boots and I have to keep my dog outside. I'm going to tie him up to something, or I'm going to crate him.
1,000%.
I'm not going to leave my dog while we are deployed
No, anywhere. No.
Have people done it? I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that's a FSA skill that I am willingly going to do.
No, never.
If I don't have to.
Mhm.
Right. So
Right. It's you're doing worst case scenario stuff here.
exactly.
Like, yeah. Some of it's just that. Like, that's the way we've always done it.
Yeah. And I get like there has to be some standard, right?
Mhm.
Because we know for a fact that dogs have deployed without certification.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
another topic.
That's another topic. But there has to be some
Basic or basis.
basis of certification. And, I just, well, it's like, who am I going to pick? The dog that finds everybody, has never false alerted, and is fast as shit, looking for my family? Or do I want the slow one who barely passes with a 70% on the test,
Hey,
but has a beautiful long down?
D's get degrees, baby.
Yeah. You know what I mean, though? Like,
What do they call a doctor that's gotten D's?
a
A doctor.
Yeah. I don't know if you.
I don't know if D's, maybe just
Yeah.
C's. But still,
Nursing school was B's. Had to get B's.
you had to get B's.
Yeah. I like 85% on everything.
I think that's a fair number.
Yeah. Opposed to 70%.
Yeah.
No, 70 was a fail.
Yeah.
Or like below 85. Or you had to maintain an 80, whatever. I don't know.
Average.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
So.
I can get behind that. That goes back to the black and white, unless there's context
Right.
that we've kind of been talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, you still have to take a licensing certification exam, kind of like the CE. And, but yeah, I think going back to just the overall theme of the topic was there has to be context when you're testing and evaluating these dogs. What's the spirit of the dog? What are they doing? What do they look like? Is this a repeated repeated fail, multiple times, and then there's other elements that you're able to repeat and some you can't. And, but if it's up to each individual task force, then what does that look like for each team?
Right. There's no standard on that.
Right.
On how they run it. I think the last element, the rubble, I think it's fair. It's a basic.
Oh God.
Very basic. And again, going back to the the idea behind the foundational skills assessment is, can this dog perform this job?
It's a screening.
Right. It should be treated as a screening.
Right.
And not like a...
It's 2 victims, 6 barks total.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
super simple.
Not deep, not diffuse,
Mm-hmm.
But once again,
no distractions.
If your dog's, can your dog bark out of sight without you? That's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a repeat inability to do that, then the team probably needs to look at whether this dog should stick around.
Yeah.
Because if majority of FSAs are done on your home pile, and you got the home field advantage, and you got to be able to do that on deployment.
Yeah.
And that's not at home. You don't pick your pile.
Fact. Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Did you ever read Touching the Dragon?
Oh, phenomenal book.
So if anybody, Spike's Canine Fun, huge for working dogs. Jimmy Hatch.
If you haven't heard about them, get out from under the rock.
Yeah, Spike's is unbelievable. We've both been able to benefit from Spike's. Jimmy Hatch wrote a book called Touching the Dragon. And when he was deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan, he said, my team got really good at playing away games.
Yeah.
And I think everything we do, like we're not at the training tower. Every house fire it's an away game. Every deployment is an away game. Every time,
Super Bowl's never at home.
Never. It was for the Rams.
Except for that one time.
Yeah. Right. But you got to get good at playing away games.
Mm-hmm.
Sports reference.
Yep.
You love the sports references.
I do.
Yeah.
I was athletic at one point.
I think that's fake.
Fake news.
No.
That is fake
I
news.
played sports. I did things.
What did you play?
So
Gaming, playing sports online doesn't count. Sorry.
do you remember NBA Jam?
Yeah.
It was awesome. He's on fire.
On fire, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was 3 consecutive points, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're on fire.
Yeah.
And then just sinking threes.
Those huge monster dunks. Yeah.
Yeah. Monster had the flame that would pass the ball. Yeah.
But I played traveling baseball, traveling hockey.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you did play hockey too.
Yeah. And then I played like junior high basketball. So nothing like high level.
Yeah.
But
All right, you played sports.
yeah, I played sports.
Fine.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. You played travel hockey. That's hard enough.
So yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about with the FSA?
I think it's like when you get into this, as a new handler or prospective handler, and you look at
The full list, this whatever, like 15, 20 pages
Yeah.
of information. You're like, shit.
Yeah.
Like I have to do all of that.
Well, you know what,
It's
man?
like it does seem like a mountain.
It
at the
does.
beginning.
But you got to treat this like a textbook.
Mhm.
Like if you need to read the handbook as a new handler, because you're getting so much information. It's information overload your first however many months on the team.
Yeah.
You need to go back when you have some time and some clarity, and you need to read the handbook so you know what you're up against. And if you're not, you're doing yourself, your dog, and your team a disservice.
1,000%.
You need to read this because it changes. It has changed.
a whole bunch of times read it.
And yeah, more than once, hit Control F if you're looking for something specific on, searching for whatever. But you need to read that handbook, and you need to understand the parameters of the test.
I think when both times that I've been preparing for the FSA, I had it printed out in a binder.
Yep.
Printed out in a binder, and each section was, separated out in the binder, and I could flip to whatever I wanted to work on, and I'd read whatever the screening skill was and the specifics of the skill, and then apply it to whatever we were doing.
Yeah.
Like carry that thing around and take notes.
What do you think's the hardest thing on there
Uh,
on test day?
Obedience,
Obedience.
1,000%.
To me,
I think the obedience is by far like just the healing off lead in a group of people.
Yeah.
With all these dogs that are ADD.
Yeah.
And again, going back to the you ain't trying, like you got to have some sort of reinforcer, whether it is just some dogs are fine with you just interacting with them.
Yeah.
Some dogs that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you need to figure out something to keep them engaged. And
Well, I think
I would say that's the hardest for me.
Yeah, I think I would agree. But also, like, I think if obedience is the hardest for your dog, that's a good problem to have.
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
I mean, and I think our whole team on Illinois is the same way. Like, we'd rather put the brakes on later. And
you don't know how to do that.
No, we're bad at capping. But I don't want to be sitting on the gas pedal for the whole career of my dog. I'd rather be having to ride the brakes down the road.
Yeah.
You don't put a saddle on a Bronco.
Yeah. What do you think is the hardest aspect of the FSA?
Since I had to spend a lot of money to do the long down, I think that's it.
What were the issues you were having?
So on top of Zool being high drive, he's also high arousal, and being able to give him the correct communication through the e-collar, knowing that he has to do this around another dog in heat or just another dog he wants to play with. I mean, he's a very social dog.
Yeah.
Being able to safely get him to 5 minutes was very hard. So,
and you can't expect the dog to just, after 2 weeks of you doing it, know it.
Right.
Like you constantly have to bring your criteria and your time lower and then higher and then lower and then higher.
Yeah.
Like it's not just it's not easy.
And you can't do, like, especially in that element, you can't do just 5 minutes, pay your dog, right? You have to reward it because their whole life is
For the duration.
They live their whole life in anticipation.
Yeah.
So if you are at 5 minutes, guess what? You might accidentally break it 4:59, right? Depending on the evaluator, right?
Yeah. Go 6 minutes.
Go 6 minutes.
Build the 6 minutes.
Go down to 3. Go up to 9.
Yeah.
And people say they train every day. I don't know if I necessarily believe them, but your training could be, dude, you're going to sit next to your food for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I couldn't do that because Coda and Irie, they're the same thing. They get so loud.
Yeah.
And whiny, and I can't put up with it.
Which is actually a thing if you look under the long down, like they cannot be overly disruptive or something on the test. There's some language about that.
Let me quickly breeze over this. No lead.
Something. Mike's searching for it.
I read slow.
Yeah.
So
you should go to college.
Nah. Cannot move a body length in any direction until they return.
There's also
evaluators shall take into consideration the comfort of the canine. Should not select a place that's too hot on hills. Blah blah blah. Effort shall be made to design the exercise so that the handlers walk away in front of the canine as opposed to going behind them. There it is. If a canine breaks down or becomes overly disruptive, an evaluator may quietly lead the canine away from others. That is absolutely subjective.
Who determines
what's
overly disruptive? Right. I so that was one thing that we had to work on.
Whining.
Yeah.
Same.
Just him holding that position and being a good citizen.
Good canine citizen.
Yeah.
You probably could have worked on that at Petco.
Yeah.
We do, and I think we also do a good job of, if we can't fix it, you need to go somewhere that's going to fix it.
Yeah.
And we rely heavily on civilian trainers, and we've contracted out a few of them for our team to either come out and help us work on things, or you go see a civilian trainer like regularly. And I think anybody on our team that has had success has done that.
I think so too.
And almost all of the dogs needed it.
Yeah.
And handler specifically needed it.
And you know what? Like, some handlers don't understand the method to the madness at first when we give them the template of how to be successful.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that when you pay someone to tell you you suck, you listen.
Yeah, for sure.
And
like
so
you pay for a gym, same deal.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna go to the gym, it's coming out of your pocket.
Yeah. The gym tells you suck. You can't run.
Right.
You're weak.
Yeah.
But going to, I'm paying this money. So if I don't listen to this individual, well, I'm just out money.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds a little bit of, I think.
Firemen are not. We ain't rich.
No.
Definitely not.
But we've done it. We've all done it.
Yeah.
So.
Cool.
All right, man. I think that was a pretty good episode of our first just rapping at each other.
Yeah. I think we hit a couple good points.
Yeah. Probably going to piss off a couple handlers.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about it. If anybody has anything to add in this conversation, definitely once we drop it, jump on social media, jump in the comments if you are so inclined to do so.
Yeah, we'd love to engage with you in the comments too.
Add your perspective on some of the things we talked about so we can kind of, again, rap about it a little bit more and on everybody else's perspective.
Because you guarantee people have other opinions.
Oh, yeah.
We want to talk about that because, none of this, everything's fluid, I think, in dog training. And so we want to hear your perspective and maybe how you do things and something we can take away from that, or we're not seeing a perspective that, just didn't think about it. So, yeah, we want to hear what you guys have to say.
Cool.
Anything else?
I think that wraps it up for, is this episode
6?
Episode 6. Wow.
Cranking them out.
Almost at double digits.
Almost. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
If you guys like this, please like, rate, subscribe,
Share.
Tell
your friends.
Share.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. That's it for another episode of the Disaster Dog Podcast. Thanks.
See you guys.